Every great civilization leaves behind its ruins, its art, and its heroes. But the story of America can be told through something smaller, something we can hold in our hands. A coin. Coins are the fingerprints of a nation. They tell us what people value, what they believe, and how they see their place in the world. From the Spanish silver that built the colonies, to the paper money that built an empire, to the digital economies shaping our future. This is the story of the United States of America. From colonies to social experiment to global economic leader. Long before America had dollars, banks, or even a unified government, it had silver, and stamped onto that silver was the mark of quiet rebellion. This is the story of America's first coinage. From the first New England Threepence to the iconic Pine Tree Shilling, these coins laid the first foundations for the birth of a nation. They proved the American colonists didn't need the coinage of European empires. They could survive and thrive by minting their own, and the world would never be the same. The year was 1652. England and the Dutch Republic clashed off the Straits of Dover, igniting the First Anglo-Dutch War. Rhode Island passed the first law banning perpetual slavery, though it was never enforced, and Massachusetts minted the first colonial coinage. At the time, Boston was a young Puritan colony. It was hard-working, but isolated, and short on one very important thing: money. English colonies were not permitted to mint their own coins, and English merchants insisted on being paid in silver. So what English coins did make their way to the colonies quickly found their way back to Europe. So the colonists relied on other currency. They bartered in wampum, nails, pelts, and tobacco, and when they could, used foreign currency. Coins like Dutch guilders, Portuguese reis, and Spanish reals, better known as pieces of 8. But these weren't enough. The economy of the Massachusetts Bay Colony was growing rapidly. It demanded something stable, something trusted, and readily available for use in commerce. And Massachusetts wasn't alone. It was the same everywhere in the colonies. Eventually, a breaking point was reached. America's coinage crisis had to end. If England would not supply the colonies with sufficient coinage, the colonies would produce their own, even if doing so was illegal and could be considered treason. To solve the ongoing coinage crisis, in 1652, the Massachusetts General Court took a daring step. They established a mint to produce coinage without royal authorization. It was an act in clear defiance of English law, but for the colony to survive, it had to be done. The court appointed Boston silversmith John Hull and his partner Robert Sanderson to run the new mint. And so, in Hull's small shop on Summer Street, Boston became the birthplace of American coinage. The first coins struck in the English colonies were 3pence, 6pence, and shillings, and their design was simple. Just a round silver disc marked NE on one side for New England, and the Roman numerals 3, 6, or 12 for the denomination on the other. Today they are known as New England coinage, and while crude, they were revolutionary. They were the first coins made in America for America. Boston's New England 3pence, 6pence, and shilling helped ease the colony's coinage shortage, but their simple design proved problematic. It was too easy for the coins to be clipped, a term referring to the practice of trimming away bits of silver, and they were too easy to counterfeit. So they were soon replaced by coins featuring more detailed designs. Beginning in 1653, the coins featured a willow tree and the legend Massachusetts, an early spelling on one side, while the other bore the legends in New England and Dom, along with the denomination and date. And 7 years later, in 1660, the tree was changed to an oak tree. In 1667, the oak was replaced by a pine tree, an image that would return a century later as a symbol of liberty during the American Revolution. Despite being minted over a 30-year span, nearly all of these colonial coins bore the same date, 1652, and for a very good reason. You see, in 1652, England had no king. The monarchy had become a republic following the execution of King Charles I in 1649. So it could be argued coins minted in 1652 did not violate royal prohibitions, but it was still risky. After all, Parliament had not authorized the minting, and in 1660 the monarchy was restored when Parliament invited Charles II to assume the throne. However, by dating all its coins 1652, the Boston Mint made it impossible to know for certain when a particular coin was minted, and if caught, they could claim they had only produced coins during that single year. Of the 4 colonial coin designs produced by the Boston Mint, those depicting the pine tree are perhaps the best known, and the ones that most closely symbolize America's longing for independence. New England's white pines were vital for use as shipmasts and in trade. They became a symbol of both prosperity and autonomy, and for many colonists, they embodied the strength and resilience of their land. But as England's need for shipmasts grew, so did its restrictions on the colonies. It passed laws prohibiting colonists from cutting down trees thicker than 1 foot in diameter. Those were declared the property of the king, and that was an infringement something many colonists deeply resented. Because of this, the pine tree would grow to become a symbol of resistance to royal authority. During the American Revolution, colonial troops flew pine tree flags at the Battle of Bunker Hill, and in October of 1775, George Washington commissioned a pine tree flag for the American Navy. It had become an emblem of American liberty, one rooted in the colonial coinage of 1652. Like Spanish reals, pine tree shillings were valued for their reliable silver content. They became trusted instruments of commerce and circulated widely, not only throughout the American colonies, but also the West Indies. And for the colonists, they were a source of pride and independence. They didn't need European coinage. They could make their own. But the colonial coin's success came with a cost. By the 1680s, royal authorities had discovered Massachusetts' unsanctioned mint, and they ordered it closed. So the presses stopped. However, those coins already struck continued to circulate, each one a reminder of America's experiment in self-governance. The Pine Tree Shilling was a small coin with big implications. It showed that colonists could produce their own money and manage their own economy, a quiet rehearsal for independence itself. 140 years later, that spirit of the Massachusetts Bay Colony's coinage lived on as the United States finally began minting its own official currency in 1792. Today, surviving Pine Tree Shillings and other Massachusetts colonial coinage are rare. They are highly prized by collectors, and many are preserved in museums as tangible links to the birth of America's economic identity. What began as a solution to a shortage of coins evolved into something far greater, a symbol of a people learning to control their own destiny. And the forge of John Hull's Boston workshop did more than mint silver coins. It fanned the flames of the desire for freedom. Those New England and Willow Threepence, Oak Sixpence, and Pine Tree Shillings were the first glimmers of the independent spirit that would one day define a nation and reshape the modern world. The case for independence is reinforced by overwhelming evidence showing the colonies no longer needed a monarchy to survive.